Let's build a portfolio with other people's money. That's right, you can actually scale a multi-million pound portfolio without putting in a penny. So I'm going to show you how to attract the right people, convert them with trust, but do it in the right way. Let's get started. So in America, we call this hard money lenders. In the UK, we'll say joint ventures or private money. And what we're going to do with this is a mutual exchange of value. It's very easy to pedestalize the money, but don't underestimate your time and expertise in finding a great deal. And when you can communicate that effectively, a great joint venture begins. And by the way, at Aspire Education, in our 12-week program, we actually work with people to find these investors and truly monetize. So what is a joint venture? A joint venture kind of is what it says on the tin, right? So one party brings typically the money in property, and then the other sweat equity, and that's the term that we're going to use. And that sweat equity is they've taken the time to educate themselves, they've put in the time to find a great deal, which isn't just a Rightmove link, they've negotiated it, and they've got the offer accepted. So they've got something, an opportunity that is going to multiply this person's money. And that's where it comes in. Sweat equity meets equity, and they have money babies. That's what we're calling it. So when it comes to the financial agreement, there's typically two approaches there, and it really depends on the risk appetite of the investor. So one of them is a split of profits. The most typical will be 50-50, and honestly, you'll be shocked. Almost every investor will agree to 50-50 once you build the relationship. The other type of investor, typically they will do it on a loan basis. So the technical term for this is bilateral loan agreement. But in short, here's a bit of money, give me my money back and some interest on top. And that can range from 5% up to 18% interest, dependent on the relationship, the type of investor, and of course the risk of the deal at hand. How do we find these investors? Well, first of all, we want to make sure this is a win-win. The thing that I love about joint ventures on the split side, so when we're sharing the profits, is we all win together or we all suffer together. So let's start with that win-win. Before we even look, we want to think about our customer avatar. And that sounds really weird, but who is our customer? So our customer avatar is Pete. So who's Pete for us? Well, Pete is a representative of who's actually engaging with us. And the reason we label them is so that we're all clear on who we're trying to attract. So for example, you'll notice with these videos, there's a way that I communicate. I'm quite colloquial. And it's because I actually want to attract like-for-like investors. I want them to be engaged. I want them to be down to earth, and I want to connect with them. So the reason why it's so important knowing who you're looking for in terms of wealth level, age, demographic, all of that, is you'll know what pain points they have, what pleasure points they have, and you can be clear on how you communicate so you're attracting the right person. So that being said, we know who we're looking for. Where do we look? Let's break this down in simple terms. First of all, you build your network. We've heard it before, your network is your net worth, but it's absolutely true. When you go out there looking to add value to people, both conceptually and factually, they are going to be attracted to you. I'm going to narrow this down. Going to property networking events actually is not the best place to find property investors, but it is great for motivation and getting introduced to people in the circuit. What about going to BNIs, Business Network Internationals? Head down to London and go to some angel networking events, and even going to some business events where they are not property specific at all, where you can go to meet business owners. And shock horror, what do business owners have? Well, if they're successful, money, okay? And you go there with the mindset of adding value first so that people are intrigued and start asking you, what is it that you do? Number two, show what you know. Show people what you're doing, okay? I really like this term saying document, don't create. And on Elite Property Trading Academy, when I'm working with mentees, building out their social media, it's document, don't create. So many people go out there and act like they're a guru suddenly, or a teacher or something like that. And actually, just document your journey. Even if you just sort of opened up today, had a really crap day, jump on a Facebook Live and just say, so I've had a car crash of a day. Here's the 3 things that I did wrong. and what I learned from it. And by the way, it doesn't need to be in video format. I do video because I'm pretty useless at everything else. Some of you, I'm sure, will tell me I'm useless at video. Who knows? But if you're good at blogging and writing, great. If you're good at engaging videos, great. If you're good at doing creative, great. Do what's right for you, but show what you do to attract people. And I promise you, one of the big downfalls of YouTube that I've been doing over the last year and I've been lacking is I stopped going out to the properties as much, which we're really committed to this year. And it's a great example of how I can improve because I'm sat in the studio right now educating you one shot, harder to maintain attention. But imagine I'm doing the same thing whilst walking around with some cash in my hand. Maybe I'll walk into the bank. Suddenly there's more. By documenting the journey, people are walking the journey with you. Number 3, create a nice little pitch deck. And these are absolutely brilliant. You do not need to do a,
here's my 487 page of my philosophy of investing, the fundamental analysis of property investment over the last 580.
it's just like, here's who I am. This is what I'm about, here are my values, and this is what we look for in property. And by the way, here's 3 to 5 example deals with predictable numbers that I'd look to deliver. And by the way, even if they're not 5 deals you've done, I'd just say they are example deals. Now, top tip for this, number 1, get a couple of nice brochures. Like in my experience, they cost about £5 for like something, you know, when you hold it and you're like, oh, that feels high quality. Get 5 to 10 to those. It costs you 40, 50 quid and get a digital brochure that's interactive. And there's so many pieces of software where you can do that, like a PowerPoint type thing. Beautiful.ai. There we go. Online, interactive, looks gorgeous. On top of that, another tip, have call to actions. Do not do an 8-page brochure and then just have a call me on this number if you're interested. Every page you have a call to action where they can scan a QR code, click or anything like that. But the main thing is, instead of giving out a business card, imagine giving out a brochure on exactly who you are, what you do and who you're looking to add value to. Here's a big secret. People don't actually invest in property. They invest in the people. And I just want you to write this down. You are your USP. Your unique selling point is not about your product or service. It's who are you. So how do we actually secure deals with other people's money? Well, first of all, we need clarity on their risk. Is it going to be the split or is it an interest payment? So we agree some sort of heads of terms. So we've got an indication. The next thing is you'll need to do anti-money laundering checks. AML on your investor is very standard practice, and we use a piece of software called Smart Search. You send them a link, they send it. Now, what I say to the investor is, hey, I'm going to go out there now closing deals on our behalf so we can start doing this. The first thing I'm going to get asked for is proof of funds. I need your permission for me to use that. I have never said that to an investor and they've said no. Why would they? They're going to get first refusal, do it. One of the ways to entice them, which is step number 1 in this piece of advice, is find a great deal. And what I mean by that is investors love the numbers, right? They invest based on the numbers. And so I'm not saying go out there and find a deal, put all the effort, and then start looking for somebody, but put together an example deal that makes sense, that you know you can deliver on. And you say, by the way, here's an example deal, and this is the type of thing I'm going to be putting in front of you. If I find something like this, are you all go? Yes, it massively increases the odds of them engaging with you and giving you what you need to go out there. Number 2, make sure the proposal's really clear. So for me, it baffles me how many people I talk to and they go, oh yeah, I've closed an investor. I'm like, oh, amazing. What's the criteria? Oh yeah, just find them a great deal, send it across and they'll have a look at it. It's like, right. And what's the agreement? What are they looking for in terms of yield, ROCE? Like, oh, they've just said a decent deal, but they've said that they'll get back to me quickly. Okay. What commitment have they made up front? Well, none of it. They weren't willing. So you haven't closed an investor. Clarity equals profit, okay? I'm going to say that again. Clarity equals profit. If I don't have absolute clarity on my investors' expectations of the deal and me, how am I going to deliver it? So this is, say for it's a long-term investment, it might be yield, the ROI, return on investment. It might be how much money is going to be left in. What's a minimum capital growth criteria? What's a minimum yield criteria? And this video isn't about going into the numbers, but if you don't know your numbers and what they want from it, how are you even going to negotiate a deal that ticks the boxes? And finally, keep it simple. And present with confidence as well. So when you're presenting something, if you're going, hi, I've sent it over. Please let me know what you think. Let me know if it's a good deal for you, and let me know if there's any issues with it. Let me know if you've got any. It's like, right, you're just opening up this big line of questioning. Second, keep it simple. There's so much detail. What do you want? Oh, I want the demographics in the area. I want the social demographic breakdown. I want to know what the average earnings are in the area. How many people are working in blue-collar jobs versus claiming benefits in the area. I want to know unemployment rates in the area. What's the average EPC in the area? What investments going on in the area? What buses come in the area? What are the routes? What logistics are there? How far walking is it there? What's the average temperature? How much rainfall? It's like, geez, there's so much information you can get. 1 page. That's what you've got. 1 page. How much money are they putting in? What are they getting out of it? What's the long-term range of this, i.e. what's the long-term aspects of the investment? What's the top 3 things you love about this? And what's some challenges that you've considered and how you're approaching it? Boom. Done. Anything else they will ask. And the reason why you don't put 10, 20, 30 pages of information, by the way, is it opens up 10, 20, 30 pages of questions. You can't assume what somebody's thinking. So I want the least amount of information necessary for them to make a decision, knowing that if they've got questions, they will ask them, and then I can give them the information that actually matters to them. When it comes to presenting with confidence, it's not, oh, hi Ollie, it's on the, like I did earlier, it's, hey Ollie, great news. Can you get to your emails in the next 5 minutes? I'm sending you over a 1-pager. I found the deal. Give it a once over. Let's schedule in our follow-up on how we proceed with this opportunity. Simple, assumptive confidence. And you can only do that if you've done the work that we've gone through before. What are the risks of taking anyone's money? Well, first of all, let's get it in writing. So legal agreements, they're really important. Get the loan agreement, get the joint venture agreement. And just so you know, there is a bit of regulation involved on this. In short, I'll make this very simple for you. If it's a loan agreement, the regulatory authorities see that as most people, the average person's going to understand, give me 100 grand and I want 110 grand back, so I get 10% interest. But when it comes to joint ventures where we share in profits and downside, regulation has decided that actually the average person will not understand the risk components of that. And the outcome of it is that they need to be a high net worth or sophisticated investor, just so you're aware. And there's ways for them to tick the box. I'm not going to go through it on this video. I'm just going to say this to you. Write this down. PS13/3. So if you go on FCA, Google it, and type in PS13/3, it will give you everything you need to know and the steps you need to take. Now, once you've done that, why do we get it in writing? It's not about tying everyone into a contract and everything like that. It's like, if we have a 20-minute conversation about our agreement, what's the odds that one of us has forgot something that we've said and what we agreed on? Or what's the odds that I've said something and you've taken it as something different? It happens all the time. And so I actually believe most people are great people and like to do deals and not mess each other around. But my experience is when you put it in writing, 9 times out of 10, they go, what do you mean by that? I didn't mean it like that. Or, oh, I didn't understand that was going to be a part of the condition. So everything that is verbalized should be in writing and give it a little squiggle next to it so everyone is safe and on the same page. Number 2, don't over-promise. It's a really poor thing. I actually don't like the other way when people go under-promise and over-deliver. It's just like, make your promise and deliver on it, and then over-deliver. Do something like a unique gift. But the worst thing, especially people at the beginning of the journey, and I think it's because like when you're at the beginning of your journey, you're pedestalizing money, everything about them is amazing. It's like, no, don't do that. Instead, just understand like, how is it that I can add value to this person, keep things simple, and just say, this is what I can do, here's what I'm looking for return. Sign it on that basis, and then go above and beyond. Finally, work with the right people. I'm going to give you this tip. Do not work with somebody just because they have money. There are thousands of incredibly, like genuinely lovely people with a lot of money that all they really want, actually, now they've made it for themselves, is to help others facilitate their growth. And there's some people with money that think that makes them better than others without it. And They're full of shit, by the way. They're the same as you and me. The reality is, money doesn't make somebody better or worse, but pick the right people. In the early days of business, I was just like you, hungry for it, maybe sort of thinking, I just need to close that first investor, I just need to work with it. And I took on some really shit clients, and it really goes downhill. And I can tell you now, Pareto's principle is absolutely true. 80-20 rule is really important here. So 80% of your challenges will come from 20% of your customers. And the reality is, you kind of knew who those 20% were up front. So just be cautious of that, get it right, work with the best people you can. So that's a basic overview of what we teach at Aspire Education. And on our upcoming 12-week program, we go in depth on how to map out this customer avatar, how to attract them, communicate with them, and ultimately get them working for you. And we do so much more, but I don't have time for it in this video. If you want to have a chat with me or the team about the full details of the program, or indeed to get involved and take the next step, then what you can do is I've put a link in the description. Fill your details in there. It's just your name, number, email, and you can book in a phone call direct with us, and we look forward to having a chat. I really hope you got value from this video. If you have, make sure to hit that like button. If you want to have a chin wag, link in the description. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.